Hi, I'm Mark from the Endurance Store. Just a quick video to show you some new products we've got in, which are Superfeet footbeds. These blue ones, I've been using these for the last 18 months now in my cycling shoes, training for Ironman. The problem that you get with cycling shoes is that unless you've got a pair made by Specialized, they're all very, very flat and they have very little support. It's a real afterthought in cycling shoes, unlike running shoes. As a result of that, when you're training for Ironman and doing long-distance cycling events, you quite often get hot feet and numb feet, and especially in Ironman events, people struggle with that and then running afterwards. And that's largely just because of the lack of support. They're very, very flat in cycling shoes. So I've used these blue ones in my cycling shoes for the last year and a half, and they make a massive difference, a lot more comfortable, and I don't have the problems I used to have, this numbness, pins and needles and so on in the forefoot. So we've got those in stock, largely because we're encouraging people to use them in the cycling shoes for Ironman training. But obviously with footbeds, your first thought would be using them for running shoes. So we have got these little thin carbon ones which go in running shoes. So when you buy running shoes, there's generally a support version and there's a neutral version. If you've got a support shoe, we probably wouldn't suggest that you put an insert in a support shoe because it's like putting support on support, which is probably going to be too much. If you've got a neutral shoe, then one of these would go in and add support. Now you've got to beg the question, if you need that support, why have you got a neutral shoe? You should have bought a support shoe in the first place. But some people buy neutral shoes and then they get problems such as plantar fasciitis, a pain in the bottom of the foot, or Achilles problems. So this is something you can add into a neutral shoe to give it a little bit more support. We get a lot of people coming into the shop who've got custom-made orthotics, which can cost quite a lot of money, but when they try and fit them into running shoes, they do cause a lot of problems because running shoes are designed in a certain way, and when you put an orthotic in, it lifts your foot up by about 5 millimeters, and your heel's actually rising out of the heel cup, so they just don't work very well. So these are specifically, this model is made for running shoes because they're very, very thin. So it only gives you literally just 1 or 2 millimeters of lift on your heel, so it only replaces the insole that's in the shoe already. So they fit really, really well in running shoes, and I've found myself with if you're wearing very lightweight shoes, racing shoes, which tend to have no support, these slot in really nicely and give you a little bit of added support and a bit of a cushioning and comfort without changing your foot position too much and without raising your heel up too much. So they're fantastic for running shoes. One of the other things I would say as well is a lot of people come into the shop and they say, I've got a problem, a foot problem or a knee problem, and I need to get some support shoes, or I need to have some orthotics in my running shoes. And the reality is that they're running 3 times a week for 30 minutes. And then for the rest of the time, they're walking around all week in a pair of really flat shoes. So if you've got a foot problem or a heel problem, an Achilles problem, you should really get a pair of these and put them in your normal shoes. Because buying a pair of support shoes or buying some insoles for your running shoes is fine. But if you're only running 3 or 4 times a week and then the rest of the time you're walking around in crap footwear, then that's going to have a much bigger impact than the positive side effect of buying decent running shoes. So these orange ones, I like the blue ones, but they're a little bit more padded. So if you do have problems, we suggest that you put these in your normal shoes as well for walking around on a day-to-day basis. So cycling shoes, normal shoes, we've got some little thin ones for running shoes, and each one of them has their own benefits. So if you've got any questions, give us a call on 01257 251 217, or if you want to talk about it, then please just pop into the store and we'll talk you through the options. See you soon.